Alan Titchmarsh has recalled the moment he issued a stark warning to his wife about his future career, and says the only person who understood his decision was his mother-in-law. Speaking on James O'Brien's Full Disclosure podcast last summer, the gardening expert explained how his fear of growing complacent drove him to take a huge gamble. "I decided in 1980 that I'd go freelance," he said, "with a baby on the way as well, so that was an enormous leap." Alan had trained and subsequently taught at Kew Gardens before moving into journalism, first as a gardening books editor and then on gardening magazines. But he worried about settling into a rut and let go of his steady magazine job in order to move into broadcasting. "I warned Alison that my income would probably halve in the first year," he says. "But it doubled, totally unexpectedly. After he made the decision to strike out on his own," Alan recalls, "the only person that said good for you was my mother-in-law. Everybody else said are you sure? But," he adds, "he felt compelled to take the chance. I've never been able to do something that wasn't stimulating me," he says. He says he feels the same way today, after scrapping his successful chat show for fear of letting himself get too comfortable. "I don't think you give of your best if you're just plodding along." While he still writes regularly for both The Express and Gardener's World magazine, he says, "The day I find it impossible to find a current angle on it, I'll stop." It's that fear of getting too comfortable, Alan says, that means he relishes the challenge of live broadcasting in particular. He takes great personal pride in being able to bring an interview to a natural close as he listens to the producer's countdown to the next item in his earpiece. "The only time I had to literally put my hand over someone's mouth was with Sue Pollard," he jokes. Alan says he learned a great deal from watching a now disgraced TV icon, Frank Bough, who was sacked by the BBC following scandals involving sex and drug parties. "I learned so much on Breakfast Time and Nationwide from watching the professional presenters there. Although he's now fallen from grace, I learned so much watching Frank Bough. He was a consummate broadcaster. I remember watching how he would change cameras, the technicalities of presenting, where he looked, how he held himself." Alan says that while he wasn't always consciously copying the late host's style, he's aware now that he's using all that stuff that he watched early on. Alan will next be on screen from 9:30 a.m. on Sunday morning's episode of ITV1's Love Your Weekend.